You take your life from evil, from wickedness by force. You deny to do evil by force. We are all surrounded by evil things. You have to be tough to refuse to do evil in the society in which we live today. Believe it or not. Because evil has become normal. The book of Revelation tells us about that. It is not easy to refuse to do evil in the society in which we live today. It's hard. It's the hardest thing to do. Oh God. I go through hell every day. There are desires, there are temptations, you know. When I was growing up as a child, I always felt as if there was something missing in me. There was something fundamentally not right with my being. I felt my spirituality when I was still very young, at the age of 5, 6. And that intensified when I lost my very first friend when I was in elementary 1. I met him when I went to school. The very first day we became friends. And our relationship became so intimate. In a couple of weeks that he died. He had a shot of Quinimax and it killed him. I was about 6 years old then, in elementary 1. And that snapped in my brain and never went away. I questioned death. I questioned suffering. I questioned lots of things. There is another scenario. A neighbor grew very sick and his skull became so big and twisted and his face changed and he finally died. At the age of 5, I went to the funeral. I stood there. I saw the coffin being lowered down into the grave. I saw everyone picking soil and throwing on the coffin. It stuck in my mind. Never went away. There is another scenario. This time was a lady just in the back of our home. She died too, very young. I can't imagine, maybe she was about 17 years old. I was just about 5 years old. I went to the funeral. Everyone was crying, mourning. Then another one, my aunt, she was in her 20s. My uncle was about to get married. And so they sent my aunt with a message to him that a wife had been secured for him. He should come and get his wife. My aunt left our town, our hometown, Bamenda, and was driving to Fumbak and got an accident. The car in which she was inside got under a truck. Her corpse were never recovered because everything I was about 7 years old then. It snapped in my mind. I saw one of my stepmothers, her grandmother, grew old and was about 120 years. Beautiful, strong, tall, 120 years. But she was like a baby. She was always sitting in the fireside, because in my tradition, we cook on the fireside. We put 3 stones and we put wood inside, and then we stand a pot on top of the stone. And whenever we finish cooking, we let the fire there or we quench it. She grew so old and was always on the fireside, whether there was fire or not. She was always in wood ash. She understood nothing. It snapped in my mind. I began searching about life. When I was about 7 years old, in elementary school, began questioning life. My very first friend made me to begin to question life. The very first friend I ever had went to his home, came to my home, we ate, and all of a sudden he was gone. I questioned life. I questioned the existence of God. But I believed one day I was going to meet my friend. He's the only friend I had and I've ever had and I will ever have. I thought about him all the time. I decided I wanted to become a priest at that moment, because that was the only thing that was available in my village. Our parents went to the Catholic Church. I decided I wanted to become a priest. Unfortunately, my father's cousin was the headmaster of our school by the time I was in the 7th year of elementary school. And when there was recruitment for pupil to go into the seminary, he discriminated against me and didn't include my name, even though I filled my form out. So I missed the opportunity to become a priest. But I had another option. I wanted to go to a college called Bishop Rogan College, because I thought from there I could find my way into becoming a priest. That didn't work out. My father wanted me to become an architect because he owned properties. He wanted me to become an engineer so that I could engineer his properties. That wasn't my ambition. So I went to technical school. I didn't do well. I trained as a carpenter. When I finished my 4 years, I decided I didn't want to be a carpenter. Though I excelled, I did very well. I left. Went to high school. Did carpentry again. But when I was about to get to college, I switched and decided to study journalism, because something told me I have to be the voice of the people. I wanted to be the voice of the people. I wanted to be something for the society. That urge of the loss of my friend was surfacing again. And I decided to go and study journalism. I went to Nigeria. I did everything, switched from technical education into general studies. It was very tedious for me when I was in Jos, in School of Mass Communication and Technology, IM City. I read hard. Finally, I graduated. I got my diploma as a journalist. I came back, I didn't stop. I just wanted to do something spiritual. Fortunately, while in Nigeria, I got converted as a born-again Christian in Deeper Life Bible Church. And it groomed me up. For more than 10 years I was in that church. Though I was almost invisible, but at the same time, I used to preach the Bible on the pulpit. I used to evangelize. I used to be a prayer warrior in the church. I did lots of things in Yaoundé and Bamenda in the church. But I was having conflicts with the church because I was publishing my Christian newspaper. And it was not in conformity with their belief system. But they gave me the foundation of my spirituality today. It taught me how to understand certain aspects of the Bible that are not taught in other places. They taught me how to respect the Bible. They helped me understand certain aspects of the Bible, even though it was incomplete. The search continued, and I began studying comparative religions, studying the Islamic faith, the Christian faith, started traveling, and I traveled in the Islamic world, got to understand what they were about. I stopped the comparative studies, started studying Eastern religions, wanted to understand something fundamental about life. I enjoyed the journey. The spiritual journey was fun because as a spiritual warrior, as a prayer warrior, someone who does deliverance, it's exciting when you speak to demons and you hear them speak through people. It's exciting when you tell demons to get out and they get out. It's exciting when you go to a territory and you dominate it and you ask the demons to get out and leave the space. And you give space and you order things that people don't see.